Hello and welcome back to the channel and my predictions for the upcoming UFC Fight Night, Moreno versus Erceg. And yeah, let's just hop right into it. I have to say that this time I'm really gonna be gone for the weekend, so I'm not gonna react right after the event. If in case all my predictions are correct, then of course I will release a reaction video after. But it's going to be early in the next week. It's not going to be Saturday night or Sunday morning because I'm not going to be home by then. I'm not sure when I'm going to be home, so it might actually be, even if I have all my predictions correct, it might actually still be middle or end of next week when I return. So let's hop into it. And we start off with the first fight of the night in the prelims. We have the lightweights. We have Markel Medeiros versus Austin Hubbard. It's a classic. It's the old rook. It's the old rookie versus veteran. I have to say Hubbard is pretty well-rounded and tough, and Medeiros is a quick finishing power puncher, that's what I meant to say. So he has most of his wins, I think. He has most of his wins by TKO, but let me just check how many of those 9 wins he has by TKO. 6. So usually when he wins, he has a TKO, and Austin Hubbard is not the person you want to rely on having to knock them out, you know? Because he has never been knocked out in his career, and that is saying a lot because he spent most of his career in the UFC with mixed results, yes, but he fought stiff competition and he still managed not to get knocked out ever, so I don't think Markel Medeiros is going to make a difference on that record. And I don't see Medeiros winning if you can't knock him out, actually. So I'm probably gonna, I actually don't know the betting lines, but I'm probably gonna go against the majority with Austin Hubbard here. Because, yeah, I don't see him getting knocked out, and that's the weapon Medeiros uses, and I don't think it's gonna hit against Hubbard, who's just too tough, too strong, too experienced in this. He's probably going to lose a round, so might be even a split decision. We move on. Oh, wrong tab, my bad. Featherweights, Jamal Emmers versus Gabriel Miranda. Both fighters' UFC stats are negative. I think one has 2 and 3, the other has 4 and 6, something like this. But Miranda has fought the tougher competition in his career. His career is shorter in the UFC, and still he has fought tougher competition. He lost to this tough competition, or is it 1 and 2? And he's that's the one that was 1 and 2, right? Gabriel Miranda. Let me just check. Yeah. He's 1 and 2. He lost to Benoit Saint-Denis and Morgan Charrière. No shame in that. As a debut against Benoit Saint-Denis, that's a tough outing, and he lost. But then he beat Shane Young and lost to Morgan Charrière, who has his own hype train behind him. Yeah. I think Miranda has fought the better competition and fared better against this tougher competition, which makes me think he's gonna be able to get to Emmers at one point in the fight and catch him with something, and I think it's gonna be a TKO for Gabriel Miranda. We move on. We have the lightweights again. Rafa Garcia versus Vince Pichel. Wins from Hell Pichel. Vince Pichel hasn't been active. He's been one of my favorite fighters when he was in the Tough House, which was, I think, over a decade ago. Let me check that. It has to be over a decade ago. Let me check. Yes, over the 2012. Yeah, he was on the Ultimate Fighter 2012, and he was my favorite on that season, I think. I'm not entirely sure who else was on this season, but I liked him. I think he got kind of unlucky with injuries in this. I'm not sure. Whatever. I liked him. He's very tough, and other than his slam loss to, who was it against? His first, Rustam Habilov. He was always given a good fight. He's always possessed power, and he's always been tough. Very, very tough. And this toughness is going to help him a lot, I think, against Rafa Garcia, because Rafa Garcia is on a good run lately, but he just lost to Grant Dawson. He also lost to Klose, he lost to Grutzemaker, he lost to Nasser Al-Hakparas, he lost to many people in the lightweight division that I think Vince Pichel would give a good fight to as well. I don't think he's going to be able to finish Vince Pichel, because this has been proven that it's very difficult to do. So I think Vince Pichel is going to take over at some point, and I think he's going to take a decision. I don't know which kind of decision. Probably Rafa Garcia might take a round and have another very close one. Might be a split decision, but I'm leaning towards Vince Pichel. We move on. Women's strawweight division. We have Lupi Godinez versus Julia Polastri. Where is she from? Mexican? No. Brazilian. So she's Julia Polastri probably. All of Lupi's losses lately have been to high-ranked fighters. For example, I'm sorry, I'm a little slow today. She lost to Angela Hill, okay, but that was also kind of a long time ago. But lately she's on a 2-fight losing streak, and she lost to Birna Jandiroba, who's I don't know, is she top 15 at the moment? She probably is, no? Or just right? Yes. Yes, she's right up there. She's right up there. And she lost to her, and she lost to Mackenzie Dern, who's probably also like top 10. Is she top 5? She's probably top 5. I don't have the UFC rankings open, so forgive me for that. But all of her competition, as I said, was very high-ranked. Julia Polastri has never fought such high-ranking competition, and still she seems to struggle in the UFC. To me, it looks like a layup for the fan-friendly Lupi Godinez, and she's going to take this by decision. Don't want to talk about this anymore. We move on. Featherweights, Christian Rodriguez versus Melquiza El Costa. Yeah. This is one I'm looking forward to on the card. Can be a fun fight, can be a tough fight, and it's two guys at featherweight that are like right on the outside of the top 10, I think. Or the top 15, I think. They're both very skilled and tough. Rodriguez just got subbed by Julian Erosa, which really does not sit well with me, because nothing against Juicy J, but he's a hit and miss, you know? And other than that, he hasn't hit against really the high-ranked. Not that Rodriguez is high-ranked yet, but he wants to be, and his resume looks like it, except for the guillotine loss to Julian Erosa. And this loss makes me actually like Melquiser Acosta a little bit by submission. But I think Rodriguez will nullify him. I don't think Melquiser Acosta has better grappling than Rosas Jr., who's going to fight later. And Rodriguez was able to nullify him. So I think he's going to do it again. And I don't think he's going to finish Melquiser Acosta. So decision win for Christian Rodriguez in my book. We move on. Middleweight division, we have Jose Daniel Medina versus Ateba Abega Gautier. Interesting fight. Well, not really. Because this, to me, looks like another layup. The streaking and very, very exciting prospect gets a guy who's on his way to getting cut. It's still a good test for Gautier, I think, because Medina is not easy to finish. Let me check how many has he been finished. He has once. So he has been finished once in his career, not lately, not in the UFC ever. So it's gonna be tough for Gautier to submit him, so he might actually struggle in this fight, but it is basically a layup. Medina has lost his last 2 fights in the UFC, his only fights in the UFC. He lost on the Contender Series, lost his first fight, and I think he's going to lose this fight again, as well, and it's going to be a decision for Gautier. We move on. Flyweights, Edgar Chaires versus CJ Vergara. Since he's in the UFC, Chaires has only lost to top prospects. Vergara, on the other hand, has more high-level experience. But during his high-level experience, he's also shown that he can be finished and that he can be dominated. Let me just fill that with names, not just empty phrases. Yeah, just Azo Almabayev dominated him. Tatsuro Taira dominated him until he finished him. And of course, Ramazan Temirov kind of dominated him, but it was a very short fight, and he got rocked. So not much you can do about that. But other than that, he has been struggling with dominating himself and imposing his will, which is why I'm favoring Edgar Chaires to win this fight. I think he's going to submit CJ Vergara. Vergara has been submitted before. Yes, I'm pretty sure. I think he has been submitted before. Right. Yes, by Taira. Tatsuro Taira submitted him. So, yeah, I'm leaning towards Edgar Chaires by submission. We move on. The main card, flyweights. Ronaldo Rodriguez versus Kevin Borjas. I have to say, Borjas' speed has been firmly stopped by the back-to-back losses in the UFC. On the flip side, Rodriguez looks great. Since he did not get his contract the first time around on the Contender Series. He has, I think he got his invite right after. He did not go to the Contender Series again, I think, but he has a streak going in the UFC, right? Yeah, he's on a 2-fight winning streak in the UFC. Has 2 fights only in the UFC, and is on a, how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-fight winning streak after his decision loss on the Contender Series. So he's really looking improved, looking a lot better. Which is why I think he's passing the Borjas test, I think. I think he's going to finish Borjas. I think it's going to be a submission or TKO. Yeah, I think it's going to be a finish. I really don't know with Ronaldo Rodriguez which way he swings in that regard. So I mean, you can check, but I think he's going to he's more of a TKO guy. No, I would lean more towards the TKO. Let's say TKO. I think I said TKO as well. In my yeah. My final prediction is a TKO. We move on. Bantamweights. David Martinez versus Simon Oliveira. It's basically the same story as the live fight. David Martinez is all the hype. He's on a 7-fight win streak as well. Just one on the Contender Series. And on the flip side, Simon Oliveira won Contender Series by split decision and then lost 2 fights in the UFC. I don't like these kind of fights. Or do I? Kind of do. Give the new prospect a chance to show that he really got it, and on the same side, on the same fight, give the guy you were debating to cut one last chance. That's fine. That's fine. I can live with that. But I'm leaning towards the TKO for David Martinez, and him retaining his hype. We move on. We stay in the bantamweight division. Raul Rosas Jr. versus Vince Morales. And really, this fight making looks to me like they want to protect Rosas Jr. from tougher matchups for now. Since he lost to, was it Rodriguez? No, not Rodriguez. Yes, Rodriguez. They're both named Rodriguez. I was just confused. And he lost his hype, but they want to, I think they want him as a stable name for Mexican fighters. So they give him Vince Morales, who hasn't looked bad in the UFC, but he's 0-2 in the UFC. And he has been susceptible to grappling heavy attacks. So since Rosas Jr. is kind of a grappler, I think he's going to get this one done by submission. We move on. Middleweights, Kelvin Gastelum versus Joe Pyfer. Kelvin Gastelum, I really am a fan, and as a fan, please get a good nutritionist, get a good strength and conditioning coach, and you will make welterweight no problem. Please. You're outsized at middleweight. You're very, very tough, and your hand speed's pretty good, and you have decent power. But you carry around so much unnecessary weight instead of muscle. Okay? I'm probably not gonna watch this. But I would love to see Kelvin Gastelum at welterweight. Against Joe Pyfer, I can see him win. I'm not saying he's gonna lose this fight. But I think that Kelvin Gastelum is the perfect test for Joe Pyfer. Because he lost one of the tests, which was it? Let me check. Against Jack Hermanson, no? The first time they tried to put him in the spotlight, they gave him Jack Hermanson and he lost. Now they give him Kelvin Gastelum for his next shot in the spotlight. And at middleweight, he's beaten D-Rod. D-Rod is not the worst win, don't get me wrong. He's beaten Chris Curtis, that's a good win too. But I think that Joe Pyfer's striking is just, like, in combination with the range and strength advantage he has over Calvin, I'm picking Joe Pyfer. If it was a Joe Pyfer-esque fighter and he fought Calvin at welterweight, we have a different story. But at middleweight, I think Calvin has still a lot of potential. I think he has a lot of talent. He's got a great timing in clinch striking and dirty boxing, but he's just outsized at middleweight. And yeah, it saddens me to see him at middleweight. Say it like this. And I think about this fight, I think Joe Pyfer can maybe even hurt Calvin, but he's not gonna knock him out. He may dominate him a little bit with grappling, but he's not gonna submit him. Calvin's gonna keep coming, and if this were 5 rounds, I would pick Kelvin Gastelum. Don't get me wrong. Even at middleweight, I would pick Kelvin Gastelum. But in 3 rounds, I give it to Pyfer. Saddens me. It really does. We move on. Co-main event of the evening. We have lightweights Manuel Torres versus Drew Dober. And I kind of see a pattern here, UFC. I kind of see a pattern. Per usual these days in the UFC, we get a very promising co-main event, but not in regards of name power or star power or something like that, but in regards of a tough fight and or spectacular finish. Meaning, they put in 2 guys that are known for their own toughness, being in gritty fights, and having a couple of spectacular finishes on their record. They put these guys together, whether it makes sense in the ranking or not, who cares? They put them together just so, as the last fight before the main event, you have a good feeling, you know, about the evening. And then you end the fight night with the main event, and you can't really make any promises about the main event, you know? So you make sure that the co-main is a banger. And they do this a lot. I can't say I dislike it, but I'm sad for Drew Dober because I like Drew Dober as a fighter, but sadly he's been cracked a lot lately, and I think Manuel Torres is gonna land at some point in this fight, unless Dober catches him with the first shot, which he rarely does. And also, I'm not sure if Dober can still take it because he has fought a lot. Lately, no. Let me see that. Twice 23, twice 24. No, he hasn't fight. He didn't fight that much, but in 2 years he got stopped twice. Once to the doctor in the Gene Silva fight, and once by Matt Frivola, the steamroller Frivola. All right. Well, Frivola is like a surprise kid anyways, so you never know what's coming. But he lost to Moicano, he lost to Gene Silva. He's losing to the upper echelon of the lightweight division. Manuel Torres looks in from the outside of the upper echelon of the lightweight division, and he wants in by going through Drew Dober, and I think he's gonna get it done. Drew Dober is very, very powerful, but he gets hit a lot. So TKO from Manuel Torres, maybe even early. Move on. Main event of the evening. We have Brandon Moreno versus Steve Erceg. I have to say, Steve Erceg fought an amazing fight against Alejandro Pantoja. But that seems to be the best fight in his resume. He has fought a couple of times since. No, not a couple of times. Once since. And he has fought a couple of times before. And he has never even close looked as good as in the Pantoja fight. On the other hand, Moreno has fought everybody at lightweight. And I mean everybody, including Figueiredo. Not everybody in the top 5 has fought. And he has beaten most of them. Steve Erceg has 2 top 5 fights, and he lost them both. Brandon Moreno, hands down. I'm leaning towards a decision, probably a dominant one. But I can see also Brandon Moreno hitting him with something hurtful, whether it's a body shot or up top. Moreno has sneaky power, but I think it's going to be a decision win for Brandon Moreno. All right, those are my picks. I give you an overview. Oh, here now I have to check that I'm not in the way. Let me see. All right. So we start bottom to top. And I think that Austin Hubbard gonna get a decision over Markel Medeiros. Gabriel Miranda is gonna TKO Jamal Emmers. Vince Pichel is gonna get a decision over Rafa Garcia. Lupe Godinez is getting a decision over Julia Polastri. Christian Rodriguez gonna get a decision also over Merkisel Costa. Atiba Abega Gauthier gonna get a knockout against Jose Daniel Medina. Edgar Shaire is going to get a submission against CJ Vergara. Ronaldo Rodriguez is going to get a TKO against Kevin Borjas. David Martinez, a TKO against Simon Oliveira. Raul Rosas Jr., a submission against Vince Morales. Joe Pyfer, a decision, sadly, against Kelvin Gastelum. Manuel Torres, a TKO against Drew Dober, and Brandon Moreno, a decision against Steve Erceg. Those are my picks for the night. What I'm looking forward for, the fights I'm looking forward for are, of course, I'm looking for the banger. Manuel Torres versus Drew Dober is going to be a good fight. Also, the middleweights, Kelvin Gastelum versus Joe Pyfer, is going to be a very good fight, I think. Even though I said it a bunch of times, I'm not going to repeat myself. But it's going to be a good fight. Other than that, I'm interested in the Edgar Shaires versus CJ Vergara fight, because CJ Vergara is tough and he's not going easy. He's not gonna go away easy, so can be a fun fight. Also, the Gauthier debut. Oh my God, so many languages mixed. The Gauthier debut. The Gauthier debut. Can be an interesting fight, because I don't think he has fought the competition like Jose Daniel Medina yet. Oh, I forgot. My God, I'm not doing it again. I'm sorry, guys. I read it out to you. You can see it now, and I forgot to do it during. Okay, other than that, I'm looking forward to Vince Pichel's return. I always liked him as a fighter, and I wish him all the best, so I like to see him fight and not lose. But yeah, we're going to see. Oh, Christian Rodriguez versus Merkisel Costa, of course, is another fight I'm looking forward to. The rest, it's really not the strongest fight night they ever. Might not be the weakest, but it's up there. All right, that's it from me. I hope I got you guys a little bit entertained. Leave a like, subscribe, and comment if you want. I see you guys in the next one. And as I said, I won't be able to react right after the event because I'm on vacation. But if I get a perfect sweep, a clean sweep on my picks, then I'm gonna do a reaction later in the week. If not, we move on. Who cares? All right. I wish you guys all the best. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.